Did Blake Lively have Armie Hammer fired from Gossip?
All of my passes back and use them all right.
Really? Lively, you were on Gossip Girl for 4 episodes.
I was, yeah.
Did she fire you? Did you get fired? What happened? Why did you leave after 4? You're so handsome.
Listen,
you were like,
dude, listen.
You played
Here's
a
my
douchebag
official
millionaire.
Here's my official take on the whole thing that's going on, is that there is another fight going on that I'm not involved in and I have not been dragged into, and I'm perfectly happy with that.
Right.
I've got enough of my own problems before throwing my hat into someone else's. Let me just say, that was a tough show to film, and I didn't end up actually filming all of the episodes I was supposed to because it was such a tough film.
Really? Literally, you said, get me out of this.
It was also like, get him out of here.
Blake Lively, the beloved star of Hollywood, recently became embroiled in a shocking incident that nobody anticipated. Disgraced actor Armie Hammer went on live television and unleashed a frightening diatribe against her, making accusations so damning that they immediately took over social media in a moment that left viewers stunned. This was a full-scale public takedown that had the potential to permanently alter how the world saw Blake Lively, not simply a typical Hollywood quarrel. However, what specifically transpired, and why would Armie Hammer, whose own reputation has been in ruins, target her at this time?
Light blue, powder blue sweater, and you're having some Chardonnay.
I was actually also in acting class with Justin Baldoni when I was 19 years old.
Really?
20 years old. Yeah, I mean, this is almost 20 years ago now.
Did you hang out in between scenes? Did you work lines together?
Yeah, yeah, we did like some scenes together, I'm sure. Yeah, he seemed like a great guy. I mean, I didn't really know him that well.
He was nice.
Listen, bro, you're not dragging me into this. I'm not getting involved.
No?
That drama is their drama.
Sure?
I want nothing to do with it.
Are you sure, Hammer?
Oh, I don't want that smoke at all.
No? You got a kissing scene with her. Was she a good kisser? You can say that.
I don't even remember, dude. I don't even remember.
You don't?
I wouldn't say if I did. I'm not getting involved. This is not my fight.
Hammer. We got a whole.
I have had
the
enough.
Greek chorus in here. They don't believe it.
I have had enough trial by media fire in my life.
Armie Hammer used to be regarded as Hollywood royalty because of his parts in critically praised movies like The Social Network and Call Me by Your Name. He was headed to become one of the top stars in the industry. However, as unsettling claims regarding his personal life emerged, his career took a sharp and scandalous turn, making him one of Hollywood's most divisive personalities. He has mostly avoided the spotlight ever since, occasionally making fleeting appearances but never really answering the charges against him.
The time that I met one Mr. Armie Hammer. It was in 2023 via my best friend, Mutuals, and he introduced me because he knew what a Gossip Girl fan I was. Obviously, Armie was in season 2 of Gossip Girl. He played Gabriel, if you remember. So I walked into the house, and there he is sitting. I was aghast, because not only is he so stunningly beautiful in person, he was so warm and welcoming, and he looked at, you know those people that just look at you and like, there's a bunch of people in the room, but you're the only person that exists, like they go directly to you? He's like that. He makes you feel like you're the only person who exists in the room. Gave me the time of day, was so warm, was so kind. I didn't bring up Gossip Girl because I was so like gaga, but he's just a human being, a normal human being. Now, I'm not here to talk about the allegations of what went down with all those girlies, etc. I'm here to talk about what went down between Blake Lively and him on Gossip Girl, because he just said in that clip by Watch What Happens Live with Andy and Chelsea that Blake Lively got him fired. And I am so not here for people using their power and clout on a set to get another human being fired from a job unless you commit some type of egregious crime. And for what it sounds like, Armie didn't. He, via the rumblings and the blinds, just said Blake Lively's not a nice person, which now we know is true. I say all this to say, hi Armie. And second of all, justice. He must be sitting back somewhere, if he even cares anymore. I'm sure he's so far moved on from this.
That is, up until now. The subject of former co-stars came up during what was intended to be a lighthearted industry roundtable interview. The interviewer mentioned Blake Lively in passing, possibly anticipating a sentimental or humorous answer. Instead, Armie's attitude abruptly altered. With a sly smile, he leaned forward and said, "Let's speak about Blake Lively, America's favorite hypocrite," with a disconcerting calm. Nobody anticipated what would happen next, and the room fell silent.
Blake Lively have Armie Hammer fired from Gossip Girl? So Armie Hammer played Gabriel Edwards, who was Serena, Blake Lively's character, her love interest on Gossip Girl. Well, Armie Hammer was abruptly removed from the series after only completing 4 episodes in season 2. And he addresses this very briefly on an appearance on Andy Cohen's Watch What Happens Live. Let's watch.
On Gossip Girl, who was the biggest diva on set?
Biggest diva on set of Gossip Girl.
You can say it because it's so far away from where you are now. That show's over. I suggest that you do not pass on another question.
By the way.
Don't you so
I wish I could take all of my passes back and use them all right
Really?
now. Yeah. Let me just say that was a tough show to film, and I didn't end up actually filming all of the episodes I was supposed to because it was such a tough film.
Really? Literally, you said, get me out of this.
It was also like, get him out of here. Yeah.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
So it just literally was that. Whose love interest for you?
I was Blake Lively's love
You
interest.
were?
Yeah.
Okay, well
Sounds
then.
like she was the problem.
It sure does, Chelsea.
No, that's not what I'm
That's
saying.
exactly what I was thinking.
Don't put words into his mouth.
Yeah. Because my foot is already there.
No, it is.
The Armie Hammer didn't hesitate. In addition to being surprising, his charges against Blake were extremely personal. He said that Blake was instrumental in planning his demise and that she had blacklisted him by using her power behind the scenes. Armie claims that Blake had always been aware of the accusations that would subsequently be made against him. Rather than disclosing the information at the time, she decided to utilize it to further her own interests, guaranteeing her untouchability while subtly stoking the backlash against him in the business.
Hammer doesn't directly confirm that Blake Lively had him fired. It was rumored that he called Lively a B word on the set, which ultimately ended up with him getting nixed. And this all comes from some messages that were posted to Dumois back in 2021 when Armie Hammer was at the height of his scandal. Oh no, what do you think? Did she get Armie Hammer fired? He only delivered on 4 episodes. He was supposed to do more. He seems very touchy about why this all went.
Blake Lively is nothing like the lovely girl next door persona she projects to the public, he continued. Rather, he portrayed her as a vicious Hollywood power player who meticulously maintains her public persona while deliberately removing anyone who gets in her way. When he implied that Blake had even used her marriage to Ryan Reynolds to dominate industry narratives, making it difficult for individuals who offended her to find employment, it was one of the most shocking parts of the rant. After the audience was astonished, snippets of the interview quickly went viral on all of the main social media networks. The Hollywood elite responded quickly to Armie's shocking allegations. Industry insiders were split into 2 sides almost quickly. On the one hand, a few former castmates and co-stars came forward to support his claims. According to an unnamed former Gossip Girl cast member, Blake was a skilled manipulator who was constantly concerned about preserving her reputation.
Watching Blake and Ryan and their reputation really taking a hit because of alleged behavior executed by these two, you know, the piper needs to be paid, as they say. And by the way, just came out today via Variety. Just Mobility demands Disney and Marvel preserve all documents relating to Ryan Reynolds. The Nice Pool, we saw the Nice Pool clip of Ryan Reynolds seemingly is definitely, allegedly, but definitely mocking Justin Mobility, which is horrible.
Blake's closest supporters, meanwhile, hurried to her aid. One of the first people to post in favor of Blake was actress Anna Kendrick, who called the charges unfounded and obviously desperate.
And Anna Kendrick hit the red carpet of their new movie, Another Simple Favor, at South by Southwest. And Anna Kendrick is going viral for her reactions when asked what it was like working with Blake again and how Blake's drama has impacted this movie.
Anna, what does it mean to be working with Blake again? We're talking about you.
How does it feel like the movie's being impacted kind of by everything happening going on in the world?
Why, what happened? I did ayahuasca and the last year of my life is just gone, but I've heard the movie's amazing.
Wait, thank you.
Ryan Reynolds was reportedly furious behind the scenes and had addressed certain industry officials over the experience, according to reports. However, Blake's own silence was the most odd response. She didn't even recognize the accusations or write a statement in response. And in Hollywood, often the biggest answer is quiet. This notion becomes even more sinister when one considers Armie Hammer's startling demise in the industry. After troubling claims of abuse and manipulation of cannibalistic desires arose in early 2021, the actor, who had previously been a rising star, saw his career collapse. A pattern of psychological and physical intimidation was revealed when several women came forward to share horrific messages and stories of their interactions with him. One of them, his ex-girlfriend Courtney Wachowicz, talked about the trauma she experienced throughout their relationship and that he had stated wishes to control her completely and devour pieces of her body.
Come over to your house with my bag of goodies, completely incapacitating you until I was done with you.
I'm here to talk about what happened in my relationship with Armie Hammer. Not only is he an actor, he was gorgeous and tall, and I was starting to fall for him. But something didn't feel right.
Once the sexual nature of the DMs started, it was all
that he wanted to ever talk about. And then he mentions the ropes. Like, it's like the ropes were around your neck, your wrists, your ankles, behind your back. I had bruises. I hated it. You take a break.
However, if we go back to the years before Armie's controversy, how does Blake Lively come into this? According to Hollywood sources, Lively has long had misgivings about him. The two moved within overlapping social circles while never having a significant screen credit together. Additionally, according to some reports, Blake had discreetly cut ties with Armie long before the accusations were made public. Was she among the first to alert others to his unsettling actions? And more significantly, did she contribute to the eventual disclosure of his sinister secrets?
Is not innocent in any of this without question. I really do think she's just a spoiled brat. Like, it just goes down to something that simple. She's a spoiled brat and she's used to getting what she wants from the time that she was a kid. And this is what she wanted. And I do think that people have not pieced together, and I've been speaking about it, the Scarlett Johansson piece of this is also something. She's the one that walked away from Ryan. He has control issues, and she was working with Wayfarer on her directorial debut at this time that this movie was being shot. And lo and behold, what is Blake trying to do? She's trying to make Ryan scramble to get her directorial rights over this movie. Like they're in this like weird competition. Yeah. Another piece of this, Scarlett Johansson was also shooting a movie with Channing Tatum. Out of nowhere, Ryan plucks Channing Tatum up out of obscurity and puts him in the Deadpool and Wolverine movie, premiering as Gambit. And he did this whole thing thanking him. So there is a Scarlett Johansson element. There is a competitive element. And I do believe that Blake Lively put pressure on him because she's not that smart. She's not a brilliant actress, and she's not a Scarlett Johansson. And I think that, you know, she suffers from that insecurity of wanting to feel like she belongs in the A-list club that Taylor Swift is in, and that her husband kind of isn't really in, but like, you know, they now have a lot of A-list.
It's reasonable to assume that Armie had harbored a bitter grudge against Blake for years if the reports regarding her power behind the scenes are accurate. Hollywood power struggles have previously occurred in the background. That 2010 Gossip Girl crossover fiasco may have been the source of his purported resentment, but it might have developed into something far more intimate. Blake's hostile behavior toward her may be an act of retaliation, his method of getting back at someone he feels helped bring him to ruin, if he did play a part in exposing his perverted facts.
Like movie star, I'm not naive enough to think that I'm the only one. I knew something about him would come up in the future because I know how careless he is.
He said things like he wanted to barbecue and eat her. And then this story blew wide open.
The Hammer name wielded a lot of prestige and power, but beneath it all was a dark world of deceit, betrayal, and corruption.
Very wealthy, privileged men got away with different bad things throughout these generations.
And it's what happened to Armie Hammer to a sick degree.
You just don't wake up and become this abuser. There has to be a seed that's planted. My name is Casey Hammer, and I'm about to reveal the dark, twisted secrets of the Hammer family.
Blake Lively or Armie Hammer's desperate attempt to stay relevant time will tell, but there is one indisputable fact. Illusions are the foundation of the entertainment industry, and they can occasionally break in the most surprising ways. Keep checking back, since this is a Hollywood tale that is very different from